They can research even able to man a woman and still wouldn't have a people to keep the peace. Assuming she had been listening to the radio through the open window to the kitchen. When the standing you in the front of the lines, Edward, you should be quiet. That sent alchemy, your job before it's too late. Oh, I could. Oh, I couldn't. Ha. Edward strained forced. I'm unlessly laughing. State alchemists use their alchemy to serve the military. State alchemy, through them, is an army attack dog. Izumi was one of them, and she never failed to get Edward and had a time about hard time about his job. Whatever they met, literally, she skipped testing him about, and simply told him to quit outright selling them through. Even though she was his teacher, he couldn't just give up on his debates like that, nor could he really talk back. Edward picked up the radio. Let me fix it for you. He called towards the kitchen in an effort to change the subject. Oh, true, thanks, Izumi said. Izumi said, distribution by arrival of Alphonse, who can finally make it back to the shop. Edward breathed a sigh of relief, picking up the radio. He couldn't figure out whatever a part of the radio was broken, or whatever there was connection issues with the cord. He shook it a bit. The receiver got worse, and Edward had never been good with the mental work and quickly had to give up. However, Alphonse, Izumi, and Stig chattered in the kitchen. All he stood, keeping them, seeing him, what he was doing. A little time for alchemy. Edward said, softly had his hands together, with a voice again from the kitchen. Oh, Ed, oh, and Ed won't fix the radio without using alchemy. All right, Edward forced and to put the radio back down in the middle of the shelf, then lifted his hands, holding his fingers together, rapid like a blade, and took a deep breath. Hiya! He'd been hoped to knock it back into working order, but unfortunately he had defeated the radio to killing it below. There was a loud crash noise, and the radio went perfectly silent. Huh? That's strange. Edward struggled, just as Ladle came flying out of the kitchen. You are who's strange. The ladle threw with example control, caught Edward squared in the back of the head. Ouch! Hey, it worked ouch! Hey, it was working. It worked on my radio at home. Edward Post rubbing his hands. Yikes! He should shatter the pot. Felt it was fatal by buying such a cheap radio. He muttered quietly, not hitting it so hard helped. That forced the blow the knobs 4 or 5 books off the shelf onto the floor. Edward started to pick them up when he pressed, huh? Something is tugging the cord. At the moment, among the books laying on the floor was an album opened of a page, several photos of Izumi and Stig. Edward squatted at his eyes, focusing on one of the photos. Hey, set that down on the floor to get a look closer. The photos showed Izumi Stig surrounded by several adults and children, all simple happy. It been taken some town. Edward could not see the cobblestone streets behind them for several houses. behind them in several houses. Ever focused in the background, there were bookstore and the glass doors sitting open. Several books had been placed with covering out the window. If Foley had been just any book, would have plastered them over a part of cigarette, but one of them caught his eye. The Involvement of the Body. He had held that title before. Ever picked up the album, holding it closed to his nose, almost touching it, and started that's the evolution of body. Here, right here, in the picture. Though the brothers had read practically every book, they had even remotely chance of cornering some clue to successful of human alchemy, yet still there were books they had never. Braille Devil, Evolving the Body of One.